Shayla, hey girl, hey. Peaceful greetings, Uncle Nathaniel. Peaceful greetings. Okay, beautiful people. We live on both places. YouTube is, it's doing that whole not showing the chat thing. Do me a favor. Can y'all see me? Somebody, you know what? Let me just stop this real quick and start it right over. I can't see nothing over here. Hold on. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to come right back in, y'all. This thing did. Again. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay. It's working down there. All right. Trina, hey, Alicia, Tiffany. Peace and blessings. Hey, girls, hey. Okay. All right, we're good now, y'all. I'm glad I started to catch that a little bit early. Otherwise, although it's not that active, I like to see if somebody asks them a question now. But when that whole thing is just blacked out, I mean, some kind of technical difficulties going on behind the scene, and I got to fix it real quick. All right, all right, y'all. So, happy Thursday. We are in a new month. It is July the 1st, 2021. We are on day 195 of year 3. We're reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. Another 3-year consecutive day count. Day 864. Today, y'all, we're reading Isaiah 31, 32, and 33. Then we're going to pick up where we left off at yesterday on Fossilized Customs on page 200. All right, y'all. Do this. Close that up. Shalom, shalom. Okay, y'all. Here. Therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the Elohim of our fathers, has promised us in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our mighty one, he is one. And you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children. And you shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah, our mighty one, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuwah, our mighty one, as he has commanded us. Who put the peanut butter in the refrigerator? Who did that? Please take it out of there. Thank you. Oh, that plucks my nerves. You don't eat cold peanut butter. Who did that? Elijah, you put peanut butter in the refrigerator? Okay. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and hop on over here to sometimes I be doing too much. You know, you just like things the way you like them, you know. But cold peanut butter, especially if you want to put it on some soft bread, it's going to rip the bread all to shreds, right? Yes. Yes, it does, son. I'm with you on it. Y'all hear my son in the background? I'm going to share this video with y'all today. It's Dopamine Detox. I think I shared it on social media. Hold up. Let me share a video.
I can't even believe I'm sharing this right now. Like, I'm starting to, you realize I'm starting to do these challenges to, hey, but I'm like, whatever helps me to better myself.
Yeah. Okay, so it's going to be a social media and electronic dopamine detox, which is it's not going to be too challenging for me because a lot of my work that I have to do requires me working on contracts on the computer and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's stuff's past. It's just more so.
Yeah, no, like social media. Yeah, so, okay. So, aside from the live, y'all, if y'all ask me questions here, over the next, I'm just adding it to my current fast that I'm doing. So, the length of my fast, so it's going to be like a whole month. It's actually a little over a month. Right? It's just let's just say 40 days, right? 40 days. If you ask me a question on social media outside of the live, you probably won't get a response from me. So if you have a really pressing question, ask it during the live. I will allow myself time to answer questions, maybe like keep it to 5 minutes. No longer than 10, like, because sometimes you find yourself mindlessly scrolling and I'm just do all that. Me and Jeremiah doing it together, right? So you ain't gonna get a response from me if it's outside of the live or outside of the maybe possibly 10 minutes outside of the live. I say about the time that it takes me to upload this video to my backup channel. So in between there, okay. But if not, I'm gonna let you know now. I ain't ignoring you, but it may take me a little longer to respond back to you because sometimes just kind of get caught up in all that stuff and one thing leads to another. Next thing you know, it's 3 hours late. I'm like, you know, and being a little bit more productive with our time here, you know, so trying to cut out some extra mindless scrolling and stuff. So, you know, so don't feel like I'm ignoring you if I don't answer you immediately, right? Okay, so let me see. Give me up to 72 hours to respond. Email, well, okay, yeah, work emails definitely, but I'm even limiting my work emails within like a 2 hour span, you know, but it'll come up. I'll see my notifications, but I'm not gonna like respond to immediately. Like I'm gonna set it for a certain time unless I know there's something come up or something pressing. Like my husband will say, he said, babe, check your email. Then outside of that time, I'll go check it, you know. But like things like that, I'm not relating to work. I'm just gonna kind of keep that stuff inside its own time slot, but I'm talking about the extra mindless scrolling that takes up a lot of time, right? I think I'm even gonna go ahead, well, with this, yeah, I probably need to. With the exception of Facebook and YouTube, I'm gonna delete all my other social media apps from my phone.
I deleted my Instagram, I deleted my Snapchat, anything social, I deleted.
Yeah, so because I'm doing, if I wasn't doing like the morning videos like live, I would delete YouTube and Facebook too. But for the sake of the live, the daily morning devotion, I'm gonna leave those. But I'm making myself stick within a certain time period. So even if you got a video that you want to send me, you think I need to watch, I might not watch it right away, right? So guys, help me out. Don't be sending me stuff like videos to watch. Especially if it got like a title that catches my attention. So I'm just like, you know, so I may ignore some of the stuff if y'all send it to me, but just to let you know, just in case you send me something within like the next month, I'm not ignoring you, but you know, if I'm gonna respond to you, expect for me to respond to you within 72 hours in the morning time, shortly after the live video, right? But anytime after that, after I get the video uploaded to the backup channel, that's it. Okay? All right. Shalom, Joseph. Joanne, shalom, says shalom. Okay, y'all. So let's go ahead and get started here. Isaiah chapter 31. Yeah, Tiffany said, and girl, we definitely need that detox. Yo, look, yeah,
This
you will
is
see
you.
when I shared this video, because Jeremiah shared it with me. I had already been thinking about it anyway, but when he shared, I'm like, yeah, I'm just going ahead and add that, let that be a part of my fast from amongst the other things, but fasting from social media, like literally, y'all, it is literally like a drug. Like that same dopamine hit you get. Like I ain't never like done drugs, like addicted to crack or nothing like that. But anybody who has had any kind of addiction, even maybe like addictions to porn or stuff like that, it's the same thing. Or addictions to food. Now I can relate to that because I was addicted to chocolate chip cookies, right? Sweets is my vice, right? So, but that same like dopamine hit you get from it, the same thing you get from social media, and sometimes it's
get your dopamine. That's where you get your addiction from.
yeah, constantly feeding that, and once you feed it, your body, even from sex, you get like a dopamine release, even when you know orgasm during sex or whatever. So when the body craves that, and if you give it things that satisfy that need for that dopamine hit, it's going to keep craving it, and that's how addictions start, right? So in order to break those addictions, the best way to break them is to completely put them away for a period of time. You have to rewire your brain, right? And it doesn't matter what type of addiction it is. So consider it, y'all. Consider it. You know, and social media is more powerful than what you believe in. There's another one I'm gonna show. I'm not sure if you've seen it. It's a little short documentary on Netflix. What's that called? It's like
It's called The Social Dilemma.
yeah, The Social Dilemma. Yo, if y'all ain't look, hold on, The Social Dilemma. Go watch that on Netflix. Even some people that was a part of like Google and Facebook, some of the big media social media things, yeah, they actually quit when they realized, you know, because they study behavior of people. Christina, hey, they study the behavior of people and like buying behavior and what attracts people and stuff like that. When they realized what it was really doing and how effective they were and how it was actually destroying some people's lives, it was crazy. And I'm like, and as you watching, especially if you, I ain't gonna say you addicted to social media, but if you spend a lot of your time scrolling, you will find out exactly, I mean, you will see really clearly how powerful that thing is, right? To where it's even when you open your eyes, the first thing you do is go to pick up your phone and open up some social media app, right? Like, you have to probably put your phone, like, leave it downstairs or something. If you use it for your alarm clock, go buy you a regular alarm clock with batteries or that you plug into the wall or one of them wind up ones, right? You got to do things to break the addiction. And I'm telling you, whew, I didn't think I was addicted to social media. Like, bruh.
Trust me, what's gonna help?
It's like give you the shakes, like, oh my God, I gotta touch it, you know. So I'm like, this is a problem, you know. So, but yeah.
Anything that, but these other passes, anything that relates to like business or anything like school.
Oh yeah, I was saying, you know, you
stuff
kind of
that
get a pass with stuff you have to do. Like if you have to work on a computer for your job, and a lot of people still remotely working, that's okay. But make sure you focus. Even with that, don't be trying to scroll Facebook or social media when you're supposed to be working. It's gonna take a couple days to get it out your system. You get past that couple days, and your fine productivity really begin to kick in. Cause I did it before, and I realized, I'm like, shoot, I got more. Like I do a lot of stuff in a day anyway, but I realized I had more time when I cut out the social media altogether. It's just crazy. Like you gain your life back, and you can kind of be present in the moment, right? And just enjoy nature. Like one time me and my husband would sit out in the back on the swing, and just like I'm just being in tune with nature and stuff. And I didn't realize we had been living here. This was a couple years ago now. We had been living here for like 2 years, and I realized that there was like an orange extension cord hanging from not from our roof, but it was over on our side of the roof. I'm like, where did that extension cord come from? Like, it was crazy. The things that when you become present in the moment, it's amazing the things you will begin to pay attention to and things you'll realize that's been there in front of your face this whole time.
But and plus, if you're black, this is going to be very helpful for you because social media and all that is actually built to mess up our frequencies.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Technology
yeah.
is kind of matter. It's not tuned to us. It's tuned to other races.
Yeah,
So doing this is gonna
that's
be
a good
better.
point, Jeremiah. He was talking about is good. It's not just for our race, but any race of people, right? A lot of the social media and electronics, if you know anything about frequencies and everything, it throws off your personal body frequency and always has you tuned to another frequency. Like that is a real thing. Y'all ever seen them experiments that they do with water and different types of substances where they're playing music and different sounds? That literally happens on the inside of your body. Our bodies are water bodies, and it's easily proven when you think about how you feel when you listen to music. Different types of music will affect your body in different types of ways, right? If you sad, you go put on sad music, you're gonna get even sadder. You know, you're happy, you put on some music they got a beat to get you going, you know, it's gonna get your spirits up because it's literally affecting the water and the molecules in your body, like almost immediately, right? So it would be really wise for us to understand some of those things and work with nature and not work against it, right? So we can live more productive lives and kind of stop some stuff, right?
Also, with that dopamine detox, it's not just social media. It's everything else. Anything that's sugar-wise, any stuff like that that supplies a certain amount of dopamine. Stop it. If back then they didn't do it, like if back then, like the original set didn't do it, don't do it.
All right. Thank you, Professor Murphy. Why you always want to Jeremiah? Look, you always want to juice. Go ahead, real quick. Hurry up. You want to juice right when I start the video. Like you was up early, like I was early. Up early. Thank you. Okay, all right. Joanne said I didn't have a phone. I don't have a phone. I had one for 2 or 3 years. Whew. I don't know if I can just like go without a phone simply because the magnitude of business that we do. I mean, but I feel you. It might be. I don't know about all that. I was about to say it might. It might be wise for some people to go back to them little flip phones. I don't know. We do too much business. I like to have my emails right in my hand and stuff. You know, I like the convenience of it. You know, simply because of business. But if we weren't doing business like we were doing, okay. Flip phone without all the smart technologies might be okay, you know. So, but you know, Hezekiah Shalom, Josiah Shalom. Okay, y'all, let's get to reading. Isaiah. Trina, you see Christina's message? I'm gonna text you, Christina. I already knew, but I'm gonna send you an inbox after this. All right, y'all. Isaiah chapter 31. What sorrow awaits those who look to Egypt for help, trusting their horses, chariots, and charioteers, and depending on the strength of human armies instead of looking to Yahuwah, the Holy One of Israel. In his wisdom, Yahuwah will send great disaster. He will not change his mind. He will rise against the wicked and against their helpers. For these Egyptians are mere humans, not God. Their horses are puny flesh, not mighty spirits. When Yahuwah raises his fist against when Yahuwah raises his fist against them, those who help will stumble, and those being helped will fall. They will all fall down and die together. But this is what Yahuwah has told me. When a strong young lion stands growling over a sheep it has killed, it is not frightened by the shouts and noise of a whole crowd of shepherds. In the same way, Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies, will come down and fight on Mount Zion. Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies, will hover over Jerusalem and protect it like a bird protecting its nest. He will defend and save the city. He will pass over it and rescue it. Though you are such wicked rebels, my people, come and return to Yahuwah. I know the glorious day will come when each of you will throw away the gold idols and silver images your sinful hands have made. The Assyrians will be destroyed, but not by the swords of men. The sword of Yahuwah will strike them down, and they will panic and flee. The strong young Assyrians will be taken away as captives. Even the strongest will quake with terror. The princes will flee when they see your battle flags, says Yahuwah, whose fire burns in Zion, whose flame blazes from Jerusalem. All right, y'all. Isaiah chapter 32. Israel's ultimate deliverance. Look, a righteous king is coming, and honest princes will rule under him. Each one will be like a shelter from the wind and a refuge from the storm, like streams of water in a desert and the shadow of a great rock in a parched land. Then everyone who has eyes will be able to see the truth, and everyone who has ears will be able to hear it. Even the hotheads will be full of sense and understanding. Those who stammer will speak out plainly. In that day, ungodly fools will not be heroes. Scoundrels will not be respected. For fools speak foolishness and make evil plans. They practice ungodliness and spread false teachings about Yahuwah. They deprive the hungry of food and give no water to the thirsty. The smooth tricks of scoundrels are easy. They plot crooked schemes. They lie to convict the poor, even when the cause of the poor is just. The generous people plan to do what is generous, and they stand firm in their generosity. Listen, you women who lie around in ease. Listen to me, you who are so smug. In a short time, just a little more than a year, you careless ones will suddenly begin to care. For your fruit crops will fail, and the harvest will never take place. Tremble, you women of ease. Throw off your complacency. Strip off your pretty clothes, and put on burlap to show your grief. Beat your breasts in sorrow for your bountiful farms and your fruitful grapevines. For your land will be overgrown with thorns and briars. Your joyful homes and happy towns will be gone. The palace and the city will be deserted, and busy towns will be empty. Wild donkeys will frolic, and flocks will graze in the empty forts and watchtowers until at last the Spirit is poured out on us from heaven. Little baby, what you do with my stuff? Go get my book. Elijah, he brought my planner book in there. Huh? What? You better go get it. Give me that. Give me that. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Forgot to mention music as well.
Thank you. Look, do me a favor. Go through there and see if he took my planner book. I got all. That's the one I wrote, like, the different crops and when I planted them so I can keep track of it. Go through there. Because I put my little packets and stuff in there, too. Go see what he done did with it. Little child. Wild donkeys will frolic, and flocks will graze in the empty forts and watchtowers until at last the Spirit is poured out on us from heaven. Then the wilderness will become a fertile field, and the fertile field will yield bountiful crops. Justice will rule in the wilderness, and righteousness in the fertile field. And this righteousness will bring peace. Yes, it will bring quietness and confidence forever. My people will live in safety, quietly at home. They will be at rest. Even if the forest should be destroyed and the city torn down, Yahuwah will greatly bless his people. Wherever they plant seed, bountiful crops will spring up. Their cattle and donkeys will graze freely. All right, y'all. These are pretty short. Last chapter for the day, Isaiah chapter 33. A message about Assyria. Christy, hey girl, hey. What sorrow awaits you, Assyrians, who have destroyed others, but have never been destroyed yourselves. You betray others, but you have never been betrayed. When you are done destroying, you will be destroyed. When you are done betraying, you will be betrayed. But Yahuwah, be merciful to us, for we have waited for you. Be our strong arm each day and our salvation in times of trouble. The enemy runs at the sound of your voice. When you stand up, the nations flee. Just as caterpillars and locusts strip the vines and fields, so the fallen army of Assyria will be stripped. Though Yahuwah is very great and lives in heaven, he will make Jerusalem his home of justice and righteousness. In that day, he will be your sure foundation, providing a rich store of salvation, wisdom, and knowledge. The fear of Yahuwah will be your treasure. But now your brave warriors weep in public. Your ambassadors of peace will cry in bitter disappointment. Your roads are deserted. No one travels them anymore. The Assyrians have broken their peace treaty and care nothing for the promises they made before witnesses. All right. Okay. All right. Be safe. Do you have your phone on you? Oh, okay. I was about to say, just call me if you need me. All right. The Assyrians have broken their peace treaty and cared nothing for the promises they made before witnesses. They have no respect for anyone. The land of Israel wilts in mourning. Lebanon withers with shame. The plain of Sharon is now a wilderness. Bashan and Carmel have been plundered. But Yahuwah says, now I will stand up. Now I will show my power and might. You Assyrians produce nothing but dry grass and stubble. Your own breath will turn to fire and consume you. Your people will be burned up completely, like thorn bushes cut down and tossed into a fire. Listen to what I have done, you nations far away, and you that are near, acknowledge my might. The sinners in Jerusalem will shake with fear. Terror seizes the godless. Who can live with this devouring fire? They cry. Who can survive this all-consuming fire? Those who are honest and fair. Those who refuse to profit by fraud, who stay away from bribes, who refuse to listen to those who plot murder, who shut their eyes to all enticement to do wrong. These are the ones who will dwell on high. Jackson, don't you go out that door. Come back through here. Come here. Let me read this again. Verse 14. The sinners in Jerusalem will shake with fear. Terror seizes the godless. Who can live with this devouring fire? They cry. Who can survive this all-consuming fire? And it's talking about what Yahuwah just said he was going to do to the people, right? Who can survive him? And Yahuwah gives the answer on who can survive his all-consuming fire. Those who are honest and fair. Those who refuse to profit by fraud. Who stay far away from bribes. Who refuse to listen to those who plot murder. Who shut their eyes to all enticement to do wrong. These are the ones who will dwell on high. The rocks of the mountains will be their fortress. Food will be supplied to them, and they will have water in abundance. Your eyes will see the king in all his splendor, and you will see a land that stretches into the distance. You will think back to this time of terror, asking, where are the Assyrian offers who counted our towers? Where are the bookkeepers who recorded the plunder taken from our fallen city? You will no longer see these fierce, violent people with their strange, unknown language. Instead, you will see Zion as a place of holy festivals. You will see Jerusalem, a city quiet and secure. It will be like a tent whose ropes are taut and whose stakes are firmly fixed. Yahuwah will be our mighty one. He will be like a wide river of protection that no enemy can cross, that no enemy ship can sail upon. For Yahuwah is our judge, our lawgiver, and our king. He will care for us and save us. The enemy's sails hang loose on broken masts with useless tackle. Their treasure will be divided by the people of Yahuwah. Even the lame will take their share. The people of Israel will no longer say, we are sick and helpless, for Yahuwah will forgive their sins. All right, beautiful people. That was Isaiah 31, 32, and 33. So let us go ahead and hop on over here to Fossilized Customs, where we left off at yesterday. All right. Okay, so we are starting with the section down at the bottom. Yeah. Your first struggle, obedience. Obed, O-B-A-D. Hebrew for servant. The one obeying Yahuwah belongs to him. Like the rainbow, he has set in the clouds as a sign of his covenant with all living creatures, never to destroy the earth again. Oh, hold on, y'all. I just thought about something while I was reading this. Okay. I'll share it with y'all later. Let's talk about the whole rainbow and the colors of it. Roy G. Biv. Okay. That's how you remember. Y'all probably know that. Y'all learned it in school. Roy G. Biv, the colors of the rainbow. Roy, red, orange, yellow. G is green. Biv is blue, indigo, and violet. Roy G. Biv, the colors of the rainbow. Right? Okay. That's not what I wanted to share. It's something else, but it has to do with them colors. Yo, well, I never thought about it that way until I just read this. Okay. The one obeying Yahuwah belongs to him. Like the rainbow, he has set in the clouds as a sign of his covenant with all living creatures, never to destroy the earth by water again. He has established a sign between him and his bride, those who have chosen to obey his voice, his word. Starting in Genesis, the seventh day was established as a sign which shows Yahuwah who we worship as creator, since this fourth commandment was given to commemorate creation. The great prostitute hates the mark of Yahuwah, which is the sign of his covenant. The Sabbath has nothing to do with the resurrection, but people have been hypnotized to believe otherwise. The text we usually hear... Why would you say that to him?
I'm trying to watch it.
You ain't got to tell him to beat it. Who you heard say that?
Mom.
What?
I'm trying to watch that.
Okay, he can look too.
I'm a baby. Now I don't need his go to sleep.
He don't want to go to sleep. You want to go back to sleep?
I'm not.
Okay, we'll leave him alone. He
I'm
want to
not
look at...
there first.
The Sabbath has nothing to do with the resurrection, but people have been hypnotized to believe otherwise. The text we usually hear to prove the disciples changed the Sabbath to Sunday to celebrate the resurrection of Yahusha are examined here, because you will find great resistance to obeying the true Sabbath. Concerning the day of Yahuwah, translated day of the Lord at Revelation chapter 1 and 10, many have been taught that this was Sunday, yet it is really the future time of testing which John was writing about, as he said he was in the Spirit. A vision of the time of wrath was being shown to him. If he wanted us to know what day of the week it was, he would have said so by saying on the first day of the week, like the other passages did. Let's look at the text about Sunday, which people seem to see in Acts 20 and 1 Corinthians. It is only tradition that has interpreted selected texts in order to apply a scriptural basis for a Sunday observance. You will notice the Sabbath is referred to in Hebrews chapter 4, and it remains for the people of Yahuwah. Paul never stated that it was any other day, and it's mentioned many times in Acts. Acts chapter 1 verse 12 even mentions a Sabbath's distance of about 3/4 of a mile, and in the NIV footnotes verify this. NIV is New International Version, just in case you didn't know what that stood for. This was not a Sunday. The best way to prove to yourself that Sabbath is the same day as it has always been is to just go through the entire book of Acts and circle the word Sabbath every time it appears. Acts was written many years after the resurrection. It was Constantine who instituted the change of the day of rest. The Council of Laodicea made Sunday a canon law. At Acts chapter 20 verse 7, Paul was preparing to leave the next morning, and the Sabbath had ended at sunset, and he and Luke came together with a small group in a house. Translations say it was on the first day of the week, but it really says first of Sabbaths, meaning the first Sabbath, and the count to Shabuot, meaning, let me read that again. Translations say it was on the first day of the week, but it really says first of Sabbaths, meaning the first Sabbath, and the count to Shabuoth, mentioned later in the chapter. Luke records there were many lamps in the second floor room because it was dark now and Sabbath had just ended. Paul went on speaking until midnight. Little Eutychus fell asleep and dropped out of the window, overcome with sleep. It says they broke bread, meaning they had a meal, like the meal Yahusha had with the two on the road to Emmaus, his aunt Miriam and uncle Cleophas. Yahusha was invited into their home, and when he was at the table with them, he took bread, gave thanks, broke it, and began to give it to them. Luke 24, verse 30. Breaking bread is just eating. Clearly, we all don't understand that, right? At 1 Corinthians 16:2, Paul was writing to the Corinthians to prepare for their gift to Yahuwah's people, the poor in Jerusalem, since he would soon be passing through on his way to Jerusalem. This was not a collection for Yahuwah's work. It was for the poor, and it was for that specific occasion. The first day of the week was, and still is, the first work day of every week, and so the people were to make this collection then, so everyone would do it in an orderly way. There is no scriptural order to any kind. There is no scriptural order of any kind to have this done at all times everywhere. The Corinthians may have congregated on the seventh-day Sabbath, those who wished to, and then the funds for the poor were collected the following day from the previous week's proceeds. This is not a big mystery, but it has been turned into a business by the ravenous wolves who plunder the flocks, and has been the tradition for well over 1,000 years under the authority of the great prostitute. Pesach, which is Passover, is the remembrance of our Passover. Okay, let me read this. Passover is the remembrance of our Passover lamb, Yahusha, who is metaphorically called the bread of life, which came down from the Shemayim. The Shemayim is heavens, right? Okay, but if we read Passover, what Yahuwah said, I'm just kind of remind y'all, just in case. The Passover event was actually to represent, it was, let me make sure I say this the right way. The actual event of Passover is called Yahuwah's Passover, right? And he specifically performed that Passover, i.e. killing the firstborns of Egypt, because they had been killing his firstborn, which is all of Israel, all the 12 tribes which were inside of Egypt at that time, because they were killing, it doesn't matter if it was man, woman, boy or girl, old man, old woman, young woman, all of Israel, all 12 tribes, all those who descend from Jacob is considered Israel, right? They were killing Israel, not the land, but the actual people, which Yahuwah refers to as his firstborn son. That's what Passover was about. It was about Yahuwah pretty much getting them back, meeting out measure for measure. What they had been doing to his people, he did to their people. So the actual Passover event was Yahuwah passing over that land, performing what he said he was going to do by knocking off every firstborn in Egypt, right? And he completely passed over his people. So I know there's a couple different things added in there with the slaughtering of the lamb and stuff, but if we get right to exactly what it was and what he did and the whole point of it, we can stay on point. We can stay on track, and we can, all that extra stuff added in, we can kind of just put it to the side, push it away, right? Okay, so the Passover was Yahuwah passing over to kill the firstborns of Egypt. That was it, right? That's all he said he was coming to do. He was going for the firstborns of Egypt. Everybody else was going to be okay, right? Okay. So when we think about Passover, that's what it is. But if we look at Passover the way the New Testament teaches you about Passover, and it's the Passover lamb with Yahusha, it's kind of almost backwards, right? And it like I said, it goes against the principle of what Yahuwah said about human sacrifice, which is abominable, right? Human sacrifice is abominable. Yahuwah would not sacrifice his own son. He told us not to do that, right? He said the pagan nations do this. They were offering up their innocent sons and daughters for the remission of their own sins. Yahuwah said, do not do this. This is not how you do this. You just simply come to me. You stop doing what was wrong. You begin to do what's right. I do not require blood, right? A lot of people want to fight me on it, but if you go through and read it, and you get the tone, you understand how Yahuwah speaks, you will understand that he never required it. And all the blood slaughterings and sacrifices were added in because this is what the people wanted to do. And some of the languages change like Yahuwah is speaking, but if you're familiar with his voice, you will see how that voice kind of changes. And it's like, yeah, no, that's not his voice. He didn't say that. Matter of fact, especially if you know his voice, like just think about when you talk, even somebody in your own family members. When you're spending a lot of time and you talk to a family member a lot, you know their voice, you know their mannerisms, you even know how they joke. Some of them have dark sense of humor. Some of them, you get to know all those details about them. So if somebody come tell you something about them, you can immediately pinpoint, no, that was not them. I was like, I know them well enough to know that they did not do that. Now, if they did that, this is how they would have did it, and this is how they would have said it, right? They didn't do it that way. But you also know somebody coming to tell you the truth. Like somebody can tell me that my 7-year-old, he's 7 years old today, my 7-year-old Isaiah just walked up to him and just socked him for no good reason. I would believe that. I would believe that. But you ain't going to tell me that my 10-year-old Joshua would do that. That is not his mannerisms. He don't even act like that, right? Isaiah's a whole nother story. So kids will come to my door saying Isaiah done started a fight, blew this, he did this. I would believe it. I know my son. He does it in his house. But y'all get what I'm saying, right? So it's the same way when you become familiar with Yahuwah's voice and his mannerisms and his tone, the way he deals with his people, it's easy to pinpoint some of the leaven and things that are thrown in there and added to the mix, right? Remember, leaven was added into the old just like it was added into the new. When you become familiar with his voice and how he speaks and how he deals, it's easy to pick things apart and separate truth from error, right? Okay, so, and even stuff that was added in, even with some of the feasts, you can tell, you can get right to the point. No, this is what he did right here. This is what he was saying he was going to do. Everything else that y'all added, he did not say that, right? Because this would go against all of this. This is how we can verify this. And if you don't believe us, let's go and look at this in all these other areas. We got to look at it as a whole, right? Can't just cherry pick stuff. Okay. It is apparent that the wolves want to take 10% from their followers, and yet Paul wept for years over this. If you check what he told the elders at Acts chapter 20, verses 13 through 38, we take the emblems of bread and wine only once a year at Pesach. Listen, I'm going to read this, but I'm going to address it real quick. A remembrance of Yahushua's death is done as twilight comes in on the beginning of the 14th of the first moon, right? It goes back to the same thing. I know this is what has been taught, but even acting like you are consuming flesh and drinking blood is an abominable thing, right? True indeed, the life of the flesh is in the blood. Y'all been taught to look at that the wrong way. A lot of people say, oh, we need that because the life of the flesh is in the blood. Think about what you just said. I want you to repeat that to yourself like 10, 11, 12 times. Really listen to what you're saying, right? My life, the life of the blood is in the flesh, or the life of the flesh is in the blood. If my body was drained of its blood, there would be no more life in this body, right? We know that to be the truth. But also, my organs, the blood has to flow through my organs to give it life. It's all a part of a system, right? The life of the flesh, the life of my flesh is in my blood, right? If my blood is poisoned and I don't get it clean and purged, my flesh will die. If I give my blood to somebody else via a blood transfusion, my life begins to flow into them. And studies have been done that when you take blood from somebody or you take organs from another person, or even because organs have memory, right? Hearts, different things. People, here's a good example. People who have gotten heart transplants, begin to experience some of those same heart memories of the person who that heart belonged to. Like I mentioned before, my son Jeremiah, he sent the link. I'm gonna share it with you. Hold on. It was a racist dude, a racist guy, a white supremacist racist gentleman needed a heart transplant. Y'all may have heard it. It was recently. He shared it with me a few days ago. A racist white supremacist dude, he was in need of a heart transplant, right? He got it. His name came up. He got a heart, but the heart that he got was from a black person, right? And it was after his heart transplant, he realized he began to have a love for hip-hop music, R&B music created by melanated people, whom he had a severe hatred for, right? How does that happen? Because our organs, our body, everything about our body has memory, right? The life of the flesh is in the blood, and the blood that flows through, it's specific for that body, for that life. Like if you were drained of it, your body would be no more. It's going to go back to the dirt. Same thing when you're consuming flesh. When you're consuming animals, you're consuming the memories that animal had, the things that it did, the diet that it ate. That's why you begin experiencing problems in your body if you continue to eat it over a prolonged period of time. It's going to clog you up. You're going to start having high blood pressure because it's too much for these water bodies. We shouldn't really be consuming it. That's where disease really, it really begins. Those things we consume right here, right? Even people who consume, here's something good. People who have really bad anger problems, I can tell you, first off, they have a dirty liver, and they're probably huge meat eaters, right? You will never find a person who is plant-based with a horrible, nasty attitude, right? Unless it's something that, but not somebody that walks around angry all the time. It's impossible. It's impossible. Like, y'all should test that. If y'all are still eating meat, y'all are meat eaters, fast from meat for like 30 days. And notice just how your overall love for nature kind of kicks in, right? And you kind of become softened to some things, right? Now, I wasn't a big, plant person, a pets person. Like, although I didn't hate them, I didn't necessarily have them around my house, and we don't have a pet because, I don't mess around with that thing. Get it out of here, right? I realized when I went plant-based, one of our friends, he went out of town, and he has a puppy, right? Yeah, it's one of them smaller puppies. It was a grown dog, but it was, the smaller breeds, like a Shih Tzu or something like that, right? I forget what it was. But James was like, because they hang out all the time and stuff. And he was like, yeah, Pam went mad. Oh, you ain't come talk to Pam. I'm like, he come in the house, to be good, make sure the dog, can interact with the kids, because I want to get us a dog. And I'm just like, and look, because my husband grew up with pets, right? Me, a couple times we had a pet, but I was always scared of our own family dog, right? Like, seriously, I really was. And I didn't like to touch him, right? So, but what I realized, that when the dog came into the house, I was just thinking, I was like, see, I'm going to end up having to take care of this dog, and everybody else going to forget the dog here. I'm going to have to clean up after. It was housebroken and stuff like that. But what I realized was, and I'm not a big pet person, but I don't have any, my feelings towards them before, it's not like the feeling I had towards them now. Because when he bought the stuff in here, you know how you fill up the, their food dishes and stuff like that. I found myself daily, because I'm thinking, I was like, okay, animals don't want to drink. Because some people, I've watched some people, they'll just continue pouring dog food into the dog bowls without cleaning it out, and putting water in there. You can see this greasy film, it's a dog. And I'm just like, that's disgusting. If I went drinking and I got a master who's caring for me, you just gonna throw my food down? I found myself every day, y'all, taking this, I don't know, that I'm sure dog food can get stale, but if it was some left, I would take it and I'd pour it out, and I would literally go through, I put it in the sink like I was washing dishes. Clearly there was a separate rag that I used for it. But I washed it out, make sure I touched it, make sure it wasn't like greasy feeling or filmy or whatever. And I washed it like the dog was a human person, y'all. And I'm standing, I was like, why are you doing this? This ain't even y'all dog, you know. But I'm thinking, I'm like, you know, he's trusting us with his baby. He treated like a baby. I'm like, why should we treat him any different? And I found myself talking to this dog and letting the dog come in the house and like you first of all, because I'm like, he got a cage, keep him outside. Dog not for the house. I ain't have a problem with the dog being in here in the house, and I really began to notice how my own inward feelings towards this animal. I'm like, oh, damn, you changing. Something has happened on the inside of you, right? Taking the dog out, let it go out for walks and stuff, and actually playing with the dog. And I actually sat there and let the dog jump on my lap, and I pet it and stuff. I'm like, girl, you is not the same person you was a few years ago. You know, so even things like that, right? Truly, the life of the flesh is in the blood, right? And when you are...
Jackson wants some more.
You want some more what, baby?
Water.
Water? But you begin to take on, when you consume flesh and blood, you began to take on those memories where that flesh and blood came from, right? Whether you are cannibal, you're eating and drinking flesh and blood of a human person, or you consuming the meat of other sentient beings like animals. You may not pay much attention to it before if you're a regular consumer of meat, but just test the principle, y'all. Really test it and actually track it. Write down how you feel and your inward emotions and stuff, right? You'll realize there's almost, I ain't gonna say almost, but there is like an emotional cleanse that begins to happen, right? You know, so I like that little saying from what is it? I think it's it was either Dory or Shark Tank. No, what is it? Shark. What is that movie with Will Smith? Did the little cartoon as the shark. Oscar. I think it was it. Not Shark Tales, but y'all probably seen. Y'all got kids. That movie. I forget. But anyway, one of them. It was either Dory or it was either on like Finding Nemo or on that Shark Tale with Will Smith voice where no, it was the Will Smith one. It was a shark one. Cause they was having why I put ice in the dog's water. My aunt do that too. I just put cold water in it from the refrigerator. But it was the shark, the little Shark Tales movie with Will Smith. He was playing Oscar, and they had like this whole AA meeting for the sharks. You know, that one shark, he was like plant-based. He didn't want to eat other sharks. And I forget his name, but anyway, it was like a little AA meeting for the sharks, you know, that stopped eating other fish and stuff. And they said, fish are our friends, not food, right? Same thing. That's my whole philosophy now, even with animals. Animals are our friends, not food. I ain't like a PETA person. Sometimes I think they go way overboard, but I understand their mentality now, and some of them, they like real, like all the way to the left or all the way to the right. They're extreme. You know, I understand that now. I really do. And they are really people who love animals and love nature so much so that they don't even wear things that have any kind of animal anything in it, right? Now, I ain't got that tedious yet, and I ain't checking for all the different fabrics. I don't know. It may still, I don't know. Goat hair, I don't know. I ain't checking the labels like that. I ain't, but some people are, and I understand that now, right? Because it's the whole thing. Animals are our friends, not food, right? Some people don't care. They just don't eat whatever past their mouth. Okay. At 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7 through 10, Paul says, I didn't skip down the whole thing. Hold on. Let me go back up. I skipped the whole little paragraph. Okay. It is apparent that the wolves want to take 10% from their followers, and yet Paul wept years over this. If you check what he told the elders at Acts chapter 20, verses 13 through 38, we take the emblems of bread and wine only once a year at Pesach. A remembrance of Yahushua's death is done at twilight, as twilight comes in on the beginning of the 14th of the first moon. And we just addressed that, right? It's a little bit of leaven added in there. The 7-day festival of Matzah begins at sunset, the beginning of the 15th, the time the lamb was to be eaten. The lambs were slain on the 14th and eaten on the 15th. We are not to slay them anywhere else but Jerusalem, where we are told to assemble. Deuteronomy chapter 12. We are now in captivity among the nations, but will be regathered when Yahuwah returns. Our Roman calendar is the beast's cycle. It is a part of the filth and the golden cup filled with abominations and the prostitute's hand, or man-made festivals and religions, right? So anytime you see that the wine, that the great harlot and all of those things is literally talking about like the other religions of the world, not like actual women and actual wine. It's symbolic of the religions, a wine that intoxicates the nations. It's the religions that are intoxicating them and diverting them and deluding them to the truth. It's amazing how we're getting the truth through movies and we just take it as entertainment. Trina, yes. Yeah. The movie industry know what's up, right? They really do. Sometimes I sit and think, it's so much truth in a lot of these things. I'm like, sometimes I wonder if they're doing it to like mock us, or if they're doing it to like actually get truth out there to show the ones who are paying attention. Sometimes I look at it, I'm like, okay, they're trying to tell us, look, be aware. We can't tell you like outright, but at least it's like movies are like parables to me now, right? And so some I'll look at just to see what truths are there and see the trend of the different truths going through the different movies, even some of the series that they have, right? It's like movies and the TV shows, they're like modern day parables, right? And only those that are awakened to the truth or kind of seeking out the truth or realize something ain't quite right here, they'll begin to pick those things up. And like the Matrix is a really, really good one. There's so much truth in that, right? Move to Salama, Enoch chapter 7 and 5, and they began to sin against birds and against animals. Oh, thank you so much for that. It's right. Look. And they began to sin against birds and against animals and against reptiles and against fish, and they devoured one another's flesh and drank the blood from it. Yes, thank you for that. Move to Salama, right? That's true. You know, we remember that from when we read Enoch a few months ago, right? Yes. So, I look, y'all just got to look at it, right? No matter what we have been taught, even if a lie has been taught for millennia and people are believing it, it doesn't make it true just because people are believing a lie and they're operating in a lie like it's the truth, right? You can clearly tell, like, everything we can prove on our own. It's been made easy, especially when it comes to food. Don't matter whether it's clean meats or unclean meats. Clearly, we all can tell pork is bad for you, right? But it's like when you start hitting on these clean meats where people who are still kind of, I ain't gonna say, because some of them may not be indoctrinated. They're kind of coming out of the, the different religions, but they're really trying to get close to y'all. So they're trying to keep to the commands as close as possible. And so a big hang up to them is the added leaven of the dietary laws, the Levitical dietary laws, right? Those, I'm telling you, all you have to do is test it, right? And you can begin to find out where leaven is. Test it. Test your body being plant-based. And also, the unclean meats is not even a thing. We clearly know that those are bad for the body, right? Those are bad for the body. But even the clean meats, I know it says that you can eat it, but they're still bad for the body. You will still go to an early grave if your body gets backed up enough with sentient beings' flesh, right? And a lot of times it will manifest itself in the form of a cancer. And especially with a lot of animal flesh, what's backed up in your system, it will manifest itself in the form of colon cancer. Anybody who has colon cancer, I know immediately that they need to clean their bodies. Some will listen, some won't, right? Some you can give them all the information, you can lead them to the water, you can lead them to the truth, but it has to be their decision. It really does, right? It has to be their decision. But you can, and that's the truth of anything. Everybody has to personally become responsible for their own lives, right? We can't give up our lives to, we can't just, this might sound horrible, but listen to what I'm saying. We cannot just abandon our lives to prayer and prayer alone, right? I get it that you may be doing it until you know better, right? But that's almost like that principle: prayer without works is dead. It profits you nothing, right? So you can pray to get a better job, but if you're praying to get a better job and just sitting on your butt and going out blowing money and doing things, not looking for a job so you can be on the lookout and possibly come in contact with this job, you might as well have saved your breath, right? Your prayer didn't register anywhere. So if you're praying for something, you have to begin to align your life to that so you can see the opportunities. Now, what prayer does, it makes you more aware of the opportunities available to you that you can take advantage of, and it'll lead you to places where you may not have seen when you weren't praying, right? It's like the Spirit of Yah will open your eyes to different opportunities now, right? It's just like when you get a new car. You may get like a 2020 white Tahoe. Now, until you personally started looking for Tahoes, you didn't realize how many were out there in the streets, right? But soon as you get something, you begin to recognize it everywhere. It's that same principle, y'all. It's that same principle. When you begin to align yourself with it, you begin to see it and you can do it. Now, when it comes to you, now you have to make a choice to actually begin to walk into it. Same thing with your body, right? So you can test that principle. Even eating clean meats will lead you to an early grave, right? You will still get high blood pressure. You'll still get diabetes. Your blood will get dirty. Right? There's a lot of, you can test it. It's medically proven. Even if you don't like to look at a bunch of data and listen to doctors and stuff, you just can't understand it. Test it with your own life, your own body. Eat meats for a while. Have your feel of it. Like, seriously. Do a 40-day and a 40-day. 40-day, nothing but eating meat. If you can make it and come out alive, 40 days of nothing but consuming meat, right? You're going to get tired of it. You may even get constipated, right? You can mix your meat. You can just go with one kind. But you're going to begin to realize it's going to take a major toll on your body. Then take the next 40 days and completely eliminate meats. We just talking about clean meats. Eliminate it from your body. And you're going to realize first, after your body does this dump and emptying yourself out, you're going to realize brain fog goes away. But wait, this is clean meats. Yep, you still get brain fog because it's still clogging your arteries and it's clogging your colon. Our colons, human beings, it doesn't matter if you're white, black, Chinese, Latino, Hawaiian, whatever. These bodies were not designed to consume meat at all. They're smart. You can. It'll filter it out, but it won't filter it out all the way unless you do a cleanse to specifically attack that and get it out of your body. Otherwise, it's going to stay in your colon and it's going to begin to putrefy and it's going to harden. That's why if you ever go, and you can prove this with a fast. Y'all ain't got to believe me. I'm just telling you, go test what I'm telling you. If you've been eating meat all your life and you've never done a fast, like a true 40-day water fast, you're going to realize if you do a water fast, when you get to about, I'll say between day 10 and day 14, right? You're going to stop having bowel movements altogether, right? First of all, because you're not taking in anything. But what's going to also happen, actually, you may stop having, if you haven't done one, you probably will for like that first 2 weeks. But there is going to be like this your body's going to do this big dump, right? And what's going to happen is all that meat that's been sitting in your colon, all through your colon, your wound up colon, it's going to begin to loosen up, because the more you hydrate yourself, it's going to loosen up all that hardened material that you have gathered in your intestines over the course of your life. It's going to loosen it up and it's going to move it through. And it's going to almost be, I'm going to tell you from my own experience, it may sound a little disgusting, but I'm trying to be as, when your body releases it, and it's not like, oh my gosh, I got to make it to the bathroom. No, it's like a natural, smooth move. But what's going to happen is there is going to be like the biggest release your body has ever done, right? And if you just happen to look at it, you're going to see that it's going to be black, like this black, like black, midnight black, dark black, right? Why? Because that material has been sitting in your colon for years, putrefying. That's why when you release one, you pass gas or whatever, it stinks. It only stinks because you have rotting flesh inside of your body. And we're just talking about clean meats, right? And we can tell how dirty you are just by how you smell. Well, you're going to find out when you actually eliminate meats from your diet altogether, you no longer have body odors. And that's any kind of body odors. Must, if you're a woman, that if you got a stank coming from your vajayjay, that's going to go away because it's going to cleanse itself and it's going to wash it. And even if you do get gas or something, even when you pass it, it will have no smell. And y'all ain't got to believe me, but those who fast and have transitioned will understand that that is the truth, and nobody will argue that point with you. The only people that argue that down with you are those that don't have the courage to take that extra step and test it. They rather argue you down. Oh no, we can do this. This was okay because it's here in the Bible. Not everything that's in there is the truth, y'all. And those that believe that they're sadly mistaken, right? They're still a bit deluded. They really are, you know. So I just wanted to put that out there. So let us stop right here, because this little next section just kind of, it's pretty long. So we're gonna stop right there. That's enough for the day. We'll stop right here. So hopefully that kind of helped y'all a little bit. Take some I ain't gonna say take some initiative, you know, because hopefully everybody cares about their body and they don't want to leave this earth early, right? Because of misinformation, right? Take responsibility for your own lives, and what you begin to see happen is that when you actually begin, and I mentioned this before, what's amazing is when you actually go back to read Torah or the books of the law and the prophets, or what a lot of time the church tells you to stay away from, because it's all fulfilled over here. All you need now is like the New Testament. That is so untrue, and it's so unfair to you, because if you never go read it, you'll never really get to the point where you realize Yahuwah wants you to take responsibility for your own life, and really he wants you to make clear-minded decisions without the influence of everybody else or what they tell you have to do. He's giving you the ability to test these principles even with what we consume, right? So if we know that consuming flesh and blood will break down our body, I mean, you can do it for years and you won't feel any effects of it, but start getting a little bit older, getting into your 40s, right? Like I'm in my 40s. And I started feeling this when I was in my 30s, right? I done shared this quite a few times, and how I felt my body breaking down. I was like, nope, I'm too young for this, you know? So that's when I really began to take control of my life. But also at that point, I was actually going back, starting to read the Old Testament. I'm like, wait a minute. So what he's saying is, because what the New Testament teaches you, just cast all your cares on Jesus and that's going to be good. And people take that and they just completely go off the deep end with it. Like they cast all their cares on Jesus and abandon everything and jump right into foolishness, like full-blown foolery, right? And they putting any and everything in their mouth, and now they trusting and thanking Jesus, but now their bodies are going out of whack and they're praying and wondering why. It's because you've abandoned truth to complete foolery, right? All these things you can test with your own bodies, right? And so when we test this and we realize even the clean meats, what the Bible has in here says that we can eat and it's clean and it's okay for us to eat, that even begins to break your body down. And mind you, when my body had started breaking down, at that point I was only consuming clean meats. Well, I'm sorry, with the exception of shrimp, right? I was still eating shrimp, but I had stopped eating pork a long time ago, right? Because I could clearly tell the difference that made in my body. But aside from the shrimp, it was like the clean meats, but then I cut out the shrimp. But even still, then I was experiencing issues and even some female problems, right? Some female type things that kind of come and don't go away. And it's like, why are you still having this problem, right? And you check out everything. But when I realized it was coming from the flesh, I was still consuming. Y'all, that blew my mind. So I'm just like, okay. So if Yahuwah tells us, I have given you a choice between life and death, right? Choose life. How can we verify that this is life? When I see that I'm reading words in here, hey, you can eat this type of bird, you can eat this type of fowl, and this cow and this, and it has to have fins and scales, but yet my body is still breaking down. There is a disruption somewhere, right? Something is not connecting, because you said this is clean and we can eat this, yet it's still destroying my body. So either you lying to me, or whoever wrote this and added something it's lying to me. So, but since I know that you don't lie and that you don't change, this must be the problem. So we got to start with the process of illumination. Let's find out who's the authority, right? Let's find out who's the authority and whose information we're going to take and whose information we're going to apply, right? Just do a process of elimination, right? Okay, so I found out that my body fares better when I completely cut this out. My body dies when I consume flesh and blood. And you can never remove all the blood from flesh anyway. Even if you cook it down, that blood is still released into the fibers of that flesh, and you're still consuming flesh and blood, right? And so that's breaking my body down, and the headaches come back. And mind you, this is only clean meat, but the headaches keep coming. But when I remove it from my diet, the headaches go away. Some of these things start clearing up in my body. These moles that begin to pop up all over my body, they are now disappearing. Like, it seems like my body is healing itself from the inside out. So now there's a big conflict on what the Bible say, that we said this is they teach you is an infallible book, the ultimate authority, and with what I'm actually testing with my body, right? So a lot of people can't get over that, and it's like, but what you have to realize is that different authors have written these things, and they compiled it. Things were added and things were taken away, right? Yahuwah is always true. And the way he has given, everybody has the ability to uncover truth for themselves by simply being a good steward and testing the principle you are learning, right? All you have to do is test it with your own body, and you will see. Yes, Christina, she said she don't eat meat at all. So true. I feel so much better since I stopped eating meat. Yes, you can test it. It doesn't matter if it is clean meat. It will still break your body down, and it will lead you to an early grave. Alzheimer's, arthritis, brain fog, dementia. Right? As you get older, you can consume it now, but when you get older, you are going to pay the price for that. And some of us, we have these things, and some of us go to an early grave. I've lost quite a few friends to these things, and even when I found out they were going this route, because I was personally there, I was heading that same direction, and I know because some different things that was happening in my body was breaking down. I share the information with them, right? And I have friends that'll call me, hey, my husband this, and or my wife is this, or my child is this. I'm like, I'm not a medical doctor, and I'm not giving medical information, but I'm gonna just tell you from my experience what happened with me, and I'm gonna share this, what I know to be credible with you. Take it and do what you will with it and see if that helps, right? And you can tell people who actually take the information and they take it and they own it, right? Because then they begin to live it and they begin to feel the changes in their body, right? Yahuwah said, I come to give life and life more abundantly. So now can we, in all good conscience, after we've tested this with our own bodies, can we in good conscience say that Yahuwah would tell us to eat my flesh and drink my blood? Are we to even act like, or do for play, act like we're doing something that he said we should stay away from, right? We should not be, right? We should not be. And that's it for today, y'all. I gotta go. My husband came back. We got this job going on, and I got some paperwork I have to get done. All right, so with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today. We read Isaiah 31, 32, and 33, and we read Fossilized Customs, pages 200 over to page 202. Making a little mark right here. All right, y'all. It is Thursday, July the 1st, 2021, day 195 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 864. It is definitely time to go because they getting loud. Love you too, Christina. Hey, girl. Hey, Talane. Oh, Hezekiah had a question. Can you flush your colon with a Daniel fast? You can. You can start. That's why I had to start. Y'all hear some of my crazy stories. Like, when I started water fasting, I couldn't even get past 2 meals in a day. I couldn't make it to dinner, right? I had to get control of my mind, right? I didn't realize I had an addiction to food, right? It's a process. You just got to keep going. If you fail, keep going. But you'll realize if you don't give up, you will get stronger each time, Hezekiah, right? Yeah, you can definitely flush your colon with a Daniel fast. If you do a Daniel fast, I would say to consume fruits, mostly fruits, water-based fruits. You can do vegetables too, but if you want to flush your colon, you're going to get that natural water, the H3O2, not the H2O, but H3O2, right? That's the natural water. It's alkalized, it's refreshing, and it'll also loosen up stuff that's been in your colon, and it'll help push it out, right? So you can start with that. Just kind of get yourself acclimated to doing fast, and you will get better as time progresses. Don't try to do it all in one day, right? It's really something you gotta work up to. You said I barely made it through a 3-day dry fast. You and me both, bruh. Look, and I shared that with y'all too. But when you do if you're going to do a water fast, for those that are doing water fast, or if you're going to do and I learned this principle by doing the dry fast, right? Which helped me with my water fast. If you do not if you're going to do a water fast, let's say you're going to do 3 days, right? If you're going to do a 3-day water fast, you will find it better. Don't start the day drinking water. Start the day by not starting up your digestive system at all. It's good not to eat or drink anything that first day. And it's actually pretty easy to get through a fast, even 2 days, without putting anything in your mouth, right? No food, no beverage, nothing, not even water, right? You will see it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to start and stick to your water fast if you don't consume anything the first 24 hours, right? And it's easy to do because you haven't broken that fast from the night when you were sleeping, because when you go to sleep at night, your body automatically fasts because you're sleeping, right? But if you don't break that state when you wake up, that's what I call it, breakfast, breaking your fast from the previous night's sleep, you won't have the issue. So it'll just try it, Hezekiah. Try to do if you're gonna do and that'll well, I guess it does work too when you're doing like a Daniel fast. It'll help you be a little more disciplined, so but that's just from my personal experience and doing it easier. Have 24 hours gets better. Yeah, prayers for me having a minor surgery. We got you, Thailand. We got you. Father, we ask you that you guide the hand of the surgeon while Thailand goes in to have this minor surgery. Let her go in and come out safely, and let the surgeon do whatever he's supposed to be doing according to this surgery. Nothing more, nothing less, but do what this surgery requires and let it take care of what it is supposed to. In your most holy name, Father Yah. Okay, Thailand. Send me a message when you get out of it. Text me. Let me know what kind of surgery it is. You put minor, but let me know. Give me more intimate details in the inbox. All right, y'all. So with that being said, that's it. Let's go ahead and do this blessing real quick, cause I gotta get off of here. All right, y'all. Guys, chill out. Hold on. All right, y'all. The blessing. Wait a minute, babe.
I put a tissue on him. The whole thing.
The blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. Remember, the first 21 verses is the Nazarite vow. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his son, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Wait a minute. May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. I love y'all. I will see y'all bright and early. Wait, no, I won't.
Yeah, and
I'll see y'all Saturday. Yo, the week is gone so fast. I won't see y'all tomorrow. I'll see y'all back here Saturday, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, y'all. Love y'all. Remember, y'all, fasting from social media. So if y'all got a question or something, y'all got about 20 minutes if you inbox it or whatever. I'm going to take about 5 minutes to answer anything that's not live while I'm uploading this to the backup channel. But once that video is uploaded to the backup channel, all social media is down for today. All right? Just doing the live videos. That's it. Right? Detoxing myself from this dopamine hit that the social media give you, right? So we can focus more and channel in on some things, right? All right. Help me become a stronger teacher, more efficient teacher, and not just here, but in my own household, right? Hopefully I gain some wisdom, get some more time to cultivate these plants and stop killing so many of them. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Peace.